William's entire life was a curriculum for the crown, each moment instilling the sacred duty of his birthright. So when Harry's romance with Meghan Markle ignited, William felt profound unease, not jealousy. He observed the dizzying speed, Meghan's intense focus, and an unsettling shift in his brother. This wasn't just love, it felt like an all-consuming obsession. Driven by fraternal bond, William urged caution, a heartfelt plea, not a king's decree. But Harry, perhaps feeling judged, rejected the advice. That conversation, meant to unite, forged a chasm. The easy camaraderie, shared history, and unbreakable bond of two boys who walked behind their mother's coffin began to fray. Harry was charting a new course, one that, to William, felt like a stark departure from everything they represented. Meghan Markle didn't merely stumble into royalty. She entered with purpose and sharp intelligence. Ambition aside, navigating. Monarchy demands diplomacy and deference. Meghan, it seemed, intended to write her own rules. Whispers from palace staff became a rising tide of tension, ignored dress codes, clashes, and a casual disregard for protocol. This wasn't adaptation. It was an assertion of different energy. The media consumed every detail, and Meghan embraced the spotlight. Royal life's quiet rhythm was overshadowed by what felt like a singular performance. The Meghan show had begun. Harry, ever loyal, shielded her, yet subtly disengaged from his old life. Family, obligations, homeland. The prince who embraced public service now chased fame on his own terms, a tailored privacy. William watched, not resentfully, but with grim inevitability. He knew the crown's unforgiving demands, its sacrifices. He knew Meghan wouldn't bend. Harry believed he chose love. William suspected he was being masterfully played. The palace walls cracked astonishingly fast. Centuries of tradition and protocol buckled under internal pressure. Meghan, initially hailed, was now a turbulent storm. Reports of staff exits, heated disagreements over minor details, from flower girl attire to seating, proliferated. More than disputes, it was a palpable shift in atmosphere. The stoic monarchy felt vulnerable, under siege from within. Publicly, the facade held. Behind the scenes, whispers intensified. Meghan wasn't joining. She aimed to transform the institution. Through overt branding, Hollywood sensibilities had invaded Buckingham. Then came the bombshell: withdrawal from royal duties. Presented as evolution, the truth was, Harry and Meghan sought prestige, platform, and security without responsibility. They envisioned themselves royal entrepreneurs. Queen Elizabeth fought cohesion. William, acutely aware of his future as monarch, was incensed. Not just by the decision, but its calculated public execution. A website launch, press release, media blitz painting the monarchy as archaic. The message was unmistakable. They were out, controlling their narrative. Across the Atlantic, the rebranding machine roared. Oprah, Netflix deals, podcasts, each amplified the same narrative. Harry and Meghan as victims of a rigid, heartless system. Yet, to those familiar with the family, the story felt incomplete, distorted. While flaws existed, the sheer scale of public drama, persistent grievances, and curated victimhood struck many as overtly theatrical. Amidst this storm, Harry himself seemed to recede. The once jovial prince, now constrained, his words guarded. Friends observed profound change, withdrawn, less playful, burdened. Some suspected he longed for his former life. Others, that he'd crossed a point of no return. William persevered, the crown's demands offering no quarter for resentment, engagements, initiatives, speeches. But behind Kensington Palace doors, anger transmuted to deep disappointment. He hadn't lost his brother to tragedy, but to pride, to a singular individual. The wound wouldn't mend. Despite hurt, he extended quiet olive branches, discreet invitations, private messages. Harry's responses were rare, fleeting. Trust, once unshakable, crumbled irrevocably. Too many personal moments exposed. Too many family anecdotes twisted. There's a limit to what one brother can forgive when the other consistently broadcasts their shared history. Meghan, meanwhile, remained in the limelight, relentlessly expanding influence. But initial public sympathy ebbed. Her narrative strained. Former colleagues spoke out. Palace aides confirmed rumors. Old friends drifted. Such an exodus inevitably raises questions about character. Her brand, once polished, showed wear. Public. Sentiment subtly shifted. Fatigue set in. The victim narrative, replayed too many times, lost power. Harder questions emerged. Why so many conflicts? Why so many accusations? And why, despite leaving royalty, did her spotlight never dim? The uncomfortable truth. Meghan never truly exited the stage. She simply changed costumes. Harry, shielding her from perceived royal burden, unwittingly gifted her an even grander platform, unburdened by discipline, tradition, or responsibility. A realm of pure, unadulterated personal influence. Beyond public pronouncements, untold stories lingered, hushed conversations, tearful confrontations, desperate, unseen mediations. Sources hinted at near reconciliations, crumbling under grievances, an inability to compromise. The public narrative became a simplified, cartoonish version of a deeply complex human drama, obscuring the silent anguish. Each side, convinced of righteousness, dug in, turning personal conflict into public, damaging ideological battle. For William, the pain echoed their shared past. Two young boys in oversized suits, mourning their mother. That profound tragedy was meant to forge an unshakable bond, a protective shield. Now that bond felt like a fragile, broken relic. He saw Harry not as wayward, but lost, adrift, unable or unwilling to grasp the profound historical weight of his choices. This wasn't just family friction, it was about the monarchy's fundamental future. As years passed, public fascination evolved. Initial sympathy for Harry and Meghan faced scrutiny. The victim narrative, once compelling, became repetitive, opportunistic. Pundits questioned persistent grievances from a couple claiming privacy. Their immense wealth and privilege contrasted sharply with the image of oppression. Narrative threads tangled, lines between truth and self-serving perception blurred, leaving many to wonder true motivations. This saga rippled far beyond the family. It challenged the monarchy, forcing it to confront accusations of archaic practices and an inability to adapt. It created a generational divide, younger audiences sympathetic to independence, older dismayed by disregard for duty. The crown's careful image was irrevocably altered, revealing hidden vulnerabilities. Harry had declared desire for freedom from the royal fishbowl, yet found a different public existence, perhaps more exposed and less regulated. The constant need to generate content, maintain a brand, control a narrative, carried unseen burdens. The privacy he sought was often undermined by commercial ventures. Was this newfound freedom truly liberating, or had he simply traded one gilded cage for another, self-constructed? The question hung, a silent judgment on a prince who seemed to have found everything he claimed to want, yet lost so much. The relentless pursuit of their own path, while lauded by some as brave, carried an unseen toll. For the institution, it meant a constant battle to maintain its stoic dignity against a torrent of highly personal revelations. For the public, it meant a loss of the unifying mystique that had long veiled the royal family in an aura of duty and sacrifice. The very act of stepping back, intended to secure autonomy, paradoxically placed them under a different, arguably more intense form of scrutiny, that of a global celebrity couple whose every move was monetized and dissected. This new spotlight offered unprecedented financial freedom, but at the cost of genuine personal space and the quiet dignity that had defined generations of royal life. The enduring image of Harry and William, once inseparable, now stands as a poignant reminder of a fractured legacy. Their story, once intertwined with national pride and collective hope, devolved into a cautionary tale of family rifts played out on the grandest stage. The impact extended beyond personal animosity, subtly reshaping public perception of this monarchy's resilience and its ability to adapt without breaking. For many, it became a symbol of modern conflicts clashing with ancient traditions, a high-stakes drama where personal desires and institutional expectations proved mutually exclusive. For William, the weight of the crown grew heavier still. With Harry's departure, the burden of continuity, of upholding centuries of tradition, rested almost entirely on his shoulders. He understood that the monarchy, despite its perceived immutability, was a delicate balance of public trust and unwavering duty. Every decision, every public appearance, was now scrutinized not just for its immediate impact, but for its role in solidifying the future of the institution against an unprecedented challenge. There was no room for error, no space for the private pain that gnawed at him. Harry and Meghan, having achieved their sought-after independence, found themselves navigating a new landscape. The initial roar of support, fueled by their narrative of escape, gradually softened into a more nuanced public curiosity. The constant need to define and redefine their roles, to produce content that justified their commercial ventures, proved a demanding enterprise. The quiet, disciplined life of royal service, which they had eschewed, was replaced by a different kind of relentless work, one where their personal lives became their primary product, leaving little room for the very privacy they claimed to crave. In the silent aftermath of this public divorce, the echoes of what was lost resonated most deeply. Not just the tangible loss of a brother or the symbolic tearing of a family fabric, but the erosion of an unspoken promise, the mutual understanding that their unique lives, for all their burdens, would be shared. The fairy tale image of princes, united in duty, was shattered, replaced by the grim reality of a deeply personal schism that left scars not only on those directly involved, but on the very institution they had both, in their own ways, been born to serve. Yet, even amidst the acrimony, a faint, lingering hope for reconciliation remained. Perhaps not a return to the easy camaraderie of their youth, but a quiet understanding, a grudging respect for their separate paths. The public longed for it, seeing in their fractured bond a reflection of broader societal divisions. The weight of public expectation, however, made any genuine rapprochement agonizingly difficult, every gesture amplified, every misstep scrutinized. The monarchy, too, was forever changed. It had weathered storms before, but this was different. A self-inflicted wound, aired globally. It forced a re-evaluation of its relationship with the media, with public opinion, and with its own definition of modern royalty. The institution had to adapt, to become more transparent in some ways, yet more guarded in others, learning to navigate a world where traditional deference had been replaced by instant judgment. For those closest to them, the personal cost was immense. Parents, spouses, and children were caught in the crossfire of a public drama, their own lives impacted by the choices made by two brothers. The unspoken rule of discretion, once a cornerstone of royal life, had been shattered, leaving a trail of hurt and betrayal that extended far beyond the immediate protagonists. The question of legacy loomed large. How would history judge these choices? Would Harry and Meghan be seen as courageous rebels, forging a new path, or as cautionary figures who sacrificed duty for personal gain? And William, the stoic heir, would he be remembered as the steadfast protector of tradition, or as the brother who failed to bridge an uncrossable divide? The narrative they built, of victimhood and liberation, became a double-edged sword. While it initially garnered sympathy, it also bound them to a story that demanded constant reinforcement. The pressure to maintain this narrative, to continue proving their independence and justification for their choices, created a new form of constraint, arguably more demanding than the royal protocols they sought to escape. The stark contrast between their lives became increasingly apparent. William and Catherine, with their growing family, embodied the traditional, dutiful image of the monarchy. Harry and Meghan, meanwhile, cultivated a more celebrity-driven persona, leveraging their royal connections for commercial ventures, a path that often seemed to clash with the very ideals of public service. In the quiet moments, away from the cameras and the public gaze, one could only imagine the private reflections. The memories of childhood, shared dreams, and unspoken understandings. Could those bonds ever truly be severed? Or did they persist, a quiet ache beneath the surface of the grand public spectacle? The complexities of their relationship, far beyond the headlines, remained deeply personal. The media, insatiable in its hunger for royal drama, continued to fuel the fire. Every comment, every alleged slight was magnified and dissected, creating a feedback loop that made genuine reconciliation even more elusive. The story, once a family matter, had become a global phenomenon, with millions invested in its unfolding. Ultimately, the saga of William and Harry became a modern parable about the weight of expectation, the allure of personal freedom, and the enduring power of family ties, even when strained to their breaking point. It was a story that transcended mere celebrity, touching on universal themes of belonging, identity, and the choices that define a life. And so, the chapters of their lives continued to be written, each new development adding another layer to a narrative that was far from over. The future of the monarchy, the fate of two brothers, and the ever-shifting landscape of public perception remained in flux, a testament to the unpredictable nature of both duty and destiny.